Hey guys, I thought I should talk to you about our second SAC and just put those thoughts in your mind. Now remember that one thing I really need you to do for me is let me know whether you wanted pH or temperature, and to put that in writing so I don't forget. Get a bit old. And therefore I can ask Leslie for the different things we need for your experiment. I haven't yet, but I will after I do this recording. Scan your SAC and email that out to you. Clearly this one's all about enzymes, and you have to actually devise the experiment for yourself. You do have the experiment from last year that I'm going to send you as a basis, but you need to choose, do I test for effective pH? Do I test for the effective temperature? Again, you'll need to write me an hypothesis, so it needs to relate to either temperature or pH and the effect of that on the active site of an enzyme. You need to explain all the background to that, and we'll go through that, what you need to include in a moment. You then will need a detailed method. Remember, your method really needs to include consideration of how you're reducing the sources of error and what variables you're controlling and what variables you're testing, or variable you're testing, and a consideration of do you have replication? Is this data really of great value if you're just doing one sample? Then of course we need to consider risk, and there's quite a bit of risk involved. You've got hot objects, you've got hydrogen peroxide, a lovely little chemical, and lots of mess, if you remember from year 11. What else do you need? After that, after risk, you're going to give me a list of equipment, and then you need to record results. Not easy to measure in an objective manner because we don't have the equipment for that, but you need to find some way of coding the data and giving an indication of how reactive. Does the reactivity change at all? So photographs are really useful. You might even consider embedding some video. These are all fine forms of collecting what would be a blend between subjective and objective, I suppose. So it's observational, but it's showing a real change in reaction. One other thing you need to consider is the use of the glowing splint, because you need to show that what you've in fact done is cause oxygen to be released, and therefore the belief that we have hydrogen peroxide being broken down by catalase and releasing oxygen is proven by the presence of oxygen. And then of course the discussion's something going right next Thursday night. So what goes in the background? Well, clearly enzymes are a protein, or within the class of proteins, so description of proteins is really important. I think you should explain to me how proteins are in fact synthesized. And then of course we want a lot of information about enzymes. And we've been through enzymes already a bit since we started the chapter. So all that stuff about active sites, denaturing, affinities, inhibition, all the stuff we've been looking at needs to be included because we might be seeing this in the SAC itself. And what else do you need? Probably a discussion about hydrogen peroxide, the role of liver, because we're going to use liver for our source of hydrogen peroxide. No, for our source of catalase, sorry. The role of catalase as an enzyme, and where it's found, because this may in fact be one of the reasons why this experiment is has interesting data. I won't give too much away. So hopefully that is something you can refer to over the weekend while you think about preparing your background for this SAC, and feel free to give me the backgrounds for drafting purposes. Happy to read through those and give you some feedback, and then we'll run the experiment on Thursday. Have a great weekend.